We know for so many people, this past year has been extremely challenging. And for so many people, they have sought relief in substance misuse. Talk a little bit more. Let's bring in Tracy Chirikas. She's the Community Relations Manager for the Alliance of Coalitions for Healthy Communities. Tracy, we always appreciate having you and members of your team on with us. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting us.
For those that we could just kind of start off that maybe aren't familiar with the Alliance, bring us up to date. What is your mission and the work that you do?
Our mission is through substance abuse prevention. And, we collaborate with multiple community partners to really align with recovery support systems and prevention efforts to both sustain and promote healthy communities. Keyword being sustain. It's one thing to promote it, right? But how do we sustain it? And that is really, truly our motto and our mission. And our core values as stewards of community trust. We completely believe in collaboration, prevention, and we're incredibly results driven. So everything we do runs with a survey so that we can see, A, are we hitting the mark? B, where do we need to improve and how quickly can we pivot to make that improvement?
But I also like that you're using the word sustain, because we do know that people that are in recovery, it is a day by day process. And it's what you're doing as well. Every day you have to keep the work going.
Correct. And back when the pandemic hit, we are a lean, mean team. And, a lot of businesses are, but we truly are. And we have this amazing resource of 21 community coalitions that are directly embedded into each community in Oakland County, and then they're directly tied to school districts. What that really helps us, take away from is that youth voice. What are they experiencing firsthand? But when the pandemic hit, all of us were caught off guard, right? You were caught off guard. I was certainly caught off guard. We didn't know from one minute to the next, was I on level footing? And I'm not a person who struggles with substance use disorder, but I have close family members who do. And watching that was really painful in that whole front end, because it wasn't just Oakland County. It wasn't just Michigan. It wasn't just nationally. It was international. And it, first time ever for us, right?
And, one of the hard things too is so many people, they work every day to take that step forward. And then we saw in the middle of the pandemic, many of them fell backwards. But it's important to know you can continue to move forward. Don't stay where you are.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. And, a lot of people, there was a lot of things that were exposed during the pandemic, but a lot of good came as a result. If we can look for the silver linings, because we're on the other side, at least 1 year out, now is where the real work begins, the real hard work, because individuals who found themselves maybe not struggling with substance use before, maybe started using as a result of anxiety and depression. And, just to cope, you think about moms or dads who had to stay home. And for the first time in their lives, not only were they a corporate worker or a worker outside of the home, now they became an inside the home school teacher. Wow, that's a big, I couldn't have done it. You do what you have to do, right, to push through. And alcohol consumption went through the roof last March. At first it was starting out as jokes. And I think we can all admit, when we saw our friends posting on Facebook, hey, is it 5 o'clock somewhere? And it was 8:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's those simple jokes that we started to normalize and witness, saying, oh my goodness, we have to pivot very quickly to a virtual platform and announce to the world, because that's actually what we did, is that we have those support programs available to you right now. Right now,
so
we did.
And with that, Tracy, as well, can you Tell us a little bit more. How does the program work? Because we do know for some people, if they find the courage to pick up the phone, to make that phone call, or to send out that email, if they get lost in the shuffle of, hey, you need to call this organization or this organization, maybe they don't make that second phone call. So, how does this system work to make sure that we support those that need that help?
Well, I really think, support is very individual. And you can't mandate individuals into support. And even the drug court struggled during that time frame. So really it was getting the word out by mouth through Facebook that we have these opportunities available for you. We're keeping you anonymous. We want you to connect. Humans were designed for connection. And the front end of that virtual platform looked amazing. But as everything, they still desire that for specifically individuals struggling or in early recovery, or for that matter, long-term recovery, they really desire human connection. And virtual, while it was okay, it's still not what they are needing at this point. So to get back to your point, how do they know and how do they fall through the cracks? I think at that front end of the whole COVID-19, of course, it's my personal opinion, but I think there was such fear that, they couldn't go to the doctors, they couldn't go to the hospital, right? And they didn't know what to do. And I attended so many funerals during that time frame. It was sad. The parents know me. They know the Alliance. They know they can connect to us. We were still working. And that's what we want to make sure everyone knows. Connect with the Alliance. We are not going to let you fall through the cracks. We answered our phones 24/7 during the whole pandemic crisis to make sure of that. And if we couldn't, we reached back out through a family member. It was that important that we keep them level during that time frame. And it was scary.
It's so heartbreaking too. Tracy Chirikas with us here on the MegaCast. She's a community relations manager for the Alliance of Coalitions for Healthy Communities. And if we could also talk a little bit about some of our adolescents and our high school students, because I'm really concerned going into the next 6 months, the next year, because for so many of them, they were home alone throughout this crisis because of remote learning. And we do know prescription drugs are in our medicine cabinets. They're around our homes. And I know for some of these students, that kind of leads them down that dangerous path. Have you seen more calls involving some of the younger generation?
Not so much with the prescription drugs, which we're very thankful about, but you're right. One of the greatest things we can do as people is to go through our medicine cabinets, get rid of any unused or expired medications. Just about every police department in Oakland County participates in Operation RX, where you can just take your medications there and dispose of them very quickly and efficiently. Also, by contacting the Alliance, we're more than happy to mail out a doTERRA drug deactivation bag. We all have a responsibility in the midst of this as well. Remove the access, right? And medications that we are taking or that our youth have to take for whatever medical condition they're under, lock it up, because it is dangerous. And if in the wrong hands, can lead to a dependency, which leads to addiction. So absolutely. But what we really witnessed with the youth was an uptick again in alcohol. So alcohol being truly accessible in a home, right, and not monitored quite possibly as family members were going back. Some individuals did not have a hiccup in their work environment where, in essence, their kids, like you said, Ronnie, they're home working, taking school by the honor system from home, and parents were at work. So alcohol was one of the biggest contributing factors in substance use this past year.
So with that, Tracy, too, what are your thoughts on the fact way back in the beginning when so many things were being shut down the state did allow liquor stores to stay open. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, and not just did they allow the liquor stores to stay open, think about all of this constant delivery, doorstop delivery. And so you had a lot of individuals, and individuals in recovery sometimes like to silo themselves too. So I struggle with prescription drugs, for example. I don't struggle with alcohol. So alcohol could be delivered to my doorstep. There's no accountability, nobody watching me, right? So you have those kinds of things. I think it was irresponsible, from that standpoint, because it led us down a pathway of a whole nother avenue, particularly here in Michigan between March and July of 2020. First time individuals reaching out for treatment rose in the state of Michigan 11%.
Wow. And that's just the ones reaching out for help.
Yes. Yes. So I don't know that we're going to really see some of the fallout, truth be told, until they do start coming back to more of this normalized, whatever that looks like, environment where we start to notice either a delay in learning or a delay in, connection.
Tracy, I'd like that you use the word, instead of abuse, misuse. Why is it the words that we use matter?
Because of stigma. At the end of the day, people use words and they stigmatize, and the fact of the matter is anyone can become dependent upon opiate-based pain medications. Our bodies build up tolerance very quickly to these medications, and evidence has shown that anything taken beyond a 3 to 5 day mark, you really need to sit with your doctor and your healthcare professional to develop that plan B, the responsible titration plan down off of these medications, so that you're not in pain and relying upon those medications to stay out of pain.
And with that, Tracy, too, one of the things I do like about the Alliance is really trying to make Narcan easily accessible to everyone in the community. Anyone and everyone should have Narcan. A business, a person. I know that I went through the training way back when I was with ATF, and just to have in your car, because if you're driving down the street, you never know if someone's going to need it.
You're speaking my language, and I am the certified Narcan trainer for Oakland County. And it is such a platform of learning for everyone. Most individuals think that, you only need Narcan for those that you know. And my husband hears me do the Narcan trainings twice a week. And unfortunately, he was leaving a job site and driving on the freeway when a vehicle slowed and then came to a slow rolling stop. That individual behind the driver's side was overdosing.
Wow.
And he knew the signs, but he did not have Narcan on him. And, after that, it's a very critical scene to arrive on. He knew enough to call 911 immediately because he recognized what was happening. But that night when he came home, he said, okay, I'm ready to be trained now, because you just don't know what you don't know. And you feel hopeless and helpless when you are watching another human being suffer that you can't help, when you truly just need the education. And we will equip you here from the Alliance. We have 2 virtual trainings every single week, one on Tuesday nights and one this afternoon. So the viewing audience, you guys can go to achcmi.org under events and sign up for this afternoon's training, and a kit will be mailed directly to you.
So important, and it really is easy to go through the steps, and it's to recognize the signs. And we should also note to individuals that it's great if you never have to use the kit, but there is an expiration date on the kit as well.
Well, there is a 2-year typically expiration date, but if stored correctly, that medication has an additional shelf life of 2 years. And it is better than nothing. And truly what we're finding out there on the streets right now is the 2 doses that you receive of the 4 milligram intranasal Narcan sometimes isn't enough. So it is so important to call 911 first, because they are also equipped, law enforcement and emergency first responders. Everyone is equipped. And I believe every human being should be equipped with Narcan.
I will say, I remember, working the streets of Detroit, and we came across an individual and their foot was still even on the gas of the car, but they were, pulled over and passed out. And it is one of the scariest situations to come across. And so if anything, just be ready and be handy to be able to help someone, especially because you never know where it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And sometimes help is not going to be so quick to arrive. So it's great that you guys have this program as well. You make it so easy for so many people. Tracy Chirikas with us here on the MegaCast. She's the Community Relations Manager for the Alliance of Coalitions for Healthy Communities. We know the big holiday weekend is ahead of us. Any last minute messaging that you want to share?
Yeah. One of the last minute messages I do want to share is, really be conscious about your fun time and make sure you unplug, but do it responsibly. Your kids are watching you. We are their mirror. And, we can have a great time without being irresponsible with that. So just practice healthy measures of, your activities for this great celebration weekend that we're up upon. And also know that we have that Narcan training this afternoon, right before the holiday. We did a drive-through event yesterday at Oakland Community Health Network. So stay tuned for the things that we are doing specifically, Narcan related, and all of the campaigns that we do wrapped around our communities. Today, we're in several schools speaking with our Keep Them Safe, Keep Them Healthy program, using young people in recovery to share their story, lived experience about the whys behind the don't, rather than the just say no, because it doesn't work.
Yeah, and sometimes it really is so much more powerful when it comes from a peer than from an adult.
Absolutely. Yeah, when they hear from me, or maybe you, Ronnie, you're younger than I am, I think, but we are that mom figure, right, to them. So they always think that we're out there just saying stories to scare them. So yes, when we use youth speakers, they can share, they know what it feels like to be in their shoes in junior high. I'm sorry, that's even showing my age. Middle school and high school, but even at the college level, right? So there's so many different things that we think at certain ages that we have this rite of passage about. And this weekend tends to set off a lot of that. High school graduations, they look different, right, than what we're accustomed to. So I'm sure that those graduation parties look different as well. So, it's been a joy listening to the program since the onset this morning, just listening to the various topics that you're bringing up and things that, maybe we just all take for granted, but we need to be really sensitive and hear to listen what our youth are saying without reacting. We need to be able to respond in a responsible way, because they are listening to us, and they do, react and respond to how we deliver those messages.
That is so true. And Tracy, if someone wants more information, where can they find it?
They can find it at achcmi.org.
You guys have, I'm sorry, go ahead. You've been doing such important work throughout this entire pandemic. Hopefully you have a vacation plan soon.
I do, and I'm excited. So I'm going to have a 3.5-day weekend. Looking forward to that. And but know that, when we do the kind of work we do, even though we set up vacations, we're really not on vacation, because we serve humans. And that is our mission, and that is what we stand for. And there's a lot of integrity backing that. So we can't just say it and then unplug for the holiday. We are available family members, just like you said, Ronnie, they don't pick and choose. This happens. Individuals might decide on Memorial Day that they need help. All of the sudden, I take those phone calls because I was in their shoes 13 years ago. I want them to know that we're here for them and we will help them get connected immediately into the services that they need, even on a holiday.
Oh, well, we are so blessed to have you and members of your team working for all of us here in the community to make all of us so much stronger, because we are stronger together. So Tracy Chirikas, Community Relations Manager for the Alliance of Coalitions for Healthy Communities, we so appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you have a fabulous holiday weekend.